Hi, this is Alan, and this about 10-minute video tutorial is going to focus on setting up your assistive touch with your Apple iOS devices, iPads, iPhones for use with your Cato motion controller. And let me share a picture here. Our focus is going to be on kind of the default or the best practices Spiro uses for his iPad that he attaches to his power chair. And there are a couple of topics here that we're going to walk through configuring. They might be new topics to some people. The idea of hot corners, that's when you move, and you see I've got my little cursor on my screen. It's overlaid here on just an image. So the hot corners are not going to engage, but by moving the cursor off to the top right, I should move into a hold and drag mode, moving to bottom left, toggle pause, resume dwell, things like that. Um, Similarly, this top level assistive touch menu has 8 functions on it, a maximum of 8. You can do fewer. This is the default set Spiro uses. And just to comment on that, um, there are about 40 or 50 options plus some custom options you can use. It depends on what applications you want to use on your environment of what's going to work best for you. But we wanted to provide just an overview of how to set them and some of the things to consider when doing that. Now, I'm going to stop this share. And if things go well, I should be able to share my iPad screen. And let's see if that's going to work and allow me to move my, oh my goodness, look at that. It worked. I love it when a plan comes together. Um, we're going to focus. Let me back up here out of accessibility already. We immediately went into Zoom, Dwell being engaged with the cursor. So let me pause Dwell, and we'll talk more about how to do that and what that means in just a minute. This pointer that you see on the screen might be something else you haven't seen before on your iPad or your iPhone. When your Cato is paired with Bluetooth, it's going to show up. And one of the things that I wanted to be sure and focus on today was pointer control and what kind of configuration you have over that. So the pointer size can be shrunk down to smaller. Actually, I think you'll see it go smaller than it's displaying here. It can go very large. At some point, that little dot appears in the middle, and that's helpful for me because it's kind of like a target that I'm working with. Notice I can change the color if I want. Also have some control over the border width, much thicker or much thinner if I choose. I'm going to stick with my red, and I'm going to use my pointer control, and we're going to go back to accessibility for the touch menu. Now, with the touch menu, a couple of things we can do. First of all, as you already noticed, I have assistive touch turned on. And so I'm going to turn it off and notice that little top level menu disappeared. When I turn it back on, it will reappear. It's going to ask if I want to customize it. And the answer right now is no. But when I overlay my cursor on it, notice it selected it and it kicked my cursor into dwell mode, and I had to pause dwell at that point. So we're going to come back to customizing the top level menu, but because dwell and dwell's fallback options are the big challenge to work with, let's go focus on them right now. I'm going to turn dwell control off, and I mentioned the fallback options. For the life of me, can't figure out when dwell is going to turn on and when it's going to turn off just randomly. It's one of the things that is going to be a lot of trial and error for most people to work with. Fallback options are key because the question becomes, if you enable fallback options, that means after dwell has engaged once, it falls back to one of the options you've selected for it. So it could just fall back to pausing, and then you'd always have to re-engage it. Or you can just turn the fallback option off. I'll show you how to toggle that from the top level in just a moment. but that fallback option is attached to dwell. Notice you do have duration control over how long it takes for the cursor to achieve its dwell. So if I turn my dwell back on, notice that the way oops, it's going 3/4 of a second is how quickly it's dwelling. While you're getting used to it, you might want to bump it up. You can go, several seconds. You can do maybe a second and a half to get there. I typically keep it at 75 just so I'm not waiting for a long dwell to happen. And the dwell control now is on. And while we're in this area, let's go ahead and take a look at those hot corners. When I select those hot corners, um, notice Spiro has his preferences for the 4, but one of them is, so I'll just show you, for example, if I go to top left, it will engage my app switcher. But notice for bottom left, he has it set to toggle, pause, and resume dwell. So that's something you can build into your hot corners. And in fact, I think if you wanted to put something like fallback option in there, I've seen that enable or disable fallback could be an option for a hot corner as well. So that's one of the ways that you can toggle it on and off, as I mentioned before. So that's our hot corners. The other thing we're going to focus on here is what to do with customizing our top level menu here. So once again, it engages dwell when I lay the cursor over that top level menu. Here I've got 5 icons. I mentioned Spiro's default has 8. You simply add a button, add another button. Maybe I want to put something like tap in as an option. So let's go down the list of 40 or 50 options that you can play around with and see what's going to work in your preferred applications. Notice you can engage things like live speech, some of the other accessibility tools. In this case, I'm looking for tap, which is under dwell controls. So while I could at this level put a toggle on fallback again, I'm just going to go ahead and put tap. And then I'm going to add one more. This doesn't fully match what Spiro's doing, but I'm going to put that image back up at the end of this. I'm going to put grab a screen cap. And so, for example, if I just wanted to put a screenshot of what was going on, there's one option here that um, I can get my screenshot when if I need to, just by clicking on that top level button. Um, the one other thing I'm going to mention for now, um, because you're enabling use of this as of Cato as a mouse or any mouse in general, you can attach custom options to single tap, double tap, long press. It's a similar group of features of functions that you can utilize. Um, and some of them are custom. And I love that, if you wanted to launch Among Us or launch Pinterest or launch Snapchat or Instagram, you could attach it in here. Apple just randomly put in here, pay Joey for house sitting. Joey used to be my house sitter. So if I click that, money would go to Joey. I trust Joey. I'm sure he'd give it back at this point, but I'm not gonna enable it for demo purposes but just wanted to show you there's a lot of control over shortcuts that can be created in this environment. So for now, I'm going to attempt to stop this share. I'm going to reshare the image that we started with. And there it is. So if you want to spend some time and try to match your configurations to this, knock yourself out. And if any questions at all, never hesitate to go to my booking link, book a half-hour meeting for us to get on a Meet or a Zoom and just see if there's something I can help you with. In the meantime, have a fantastic day and good luck with it. Thanks.